we could have a moment of silence to keep in our prayers those law enforcement officers that were killed recently. Thank you. Dennis, the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Here.
Freeholder Belmonte.
Here.
Freeholder Kenny. Freeholder Polos.
Here.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Here.
Freeholder Valenti. Freeholder Director Rios.
Here. We have some recognitions.
Yes, there are 3 recognitions this evening. The first is recognizing staff members of MCAT, David Bryce and Greg Stout. The next is recognizing Patrick Colligan as Irishman of the Year by the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick of Central Jersey. And the last is recognizing members of Boy Scout Troop 12, Patrick Reed, Elias Hines, and Liam Weeks as they attain Eagle Scout status.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Deputy Director Belmonte. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Yes.
Freeholder Belmonte.
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny. Freeholder Polos. Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. If we could have David Bryce and Greg Stout come up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a resolution here that we're going to present to the other gentleman who's not here. To these 2 gentlemen, Dave Bryce and Greg Stout. Dave Bryce was driving his MCAT bus, and he noticed that an individual on the bus was experiencing medical problems, chest discomfort. And he quickly acted, notified dispatch, which was Greg Stout, and both of them worked so hard and diligently in a calm manner, directed the Sayreville Police Department to where the bus was, and they administered first aid, brought the individual with the police department and EMS to the hospital, and it was a life-threatening situation, which turned out to be a life-saving situation. So on behalf of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, we congratulate you so much for this job. Well done. Congratulations. Okay, thank you so much. Take care of it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Okay, correspondence.
Each freeholder has been provided with a list of correspondence received by the clerk's office since our last meeting. This correspondence will be kept on file in the office of the clerk of the board for reference.
Is there a motion to accept the correspondence?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Deputy Director Belmonte. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes for approval.
The minutes for approval are for the Board of Chosen Freeholders regular meeting for March 3rd, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Yes.
Freeholder Belmonte.
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny. Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. We have ordinance, we have public hearing and final adoption.
Yes. The notice of this public hearing was published in the Home News Tribune on March 7th, 2016. This public hearing was authorized at a meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders held March 3rd, 2016.
The clerk will read ordinance number 16-001 by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the guarantee by the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, of county guaranteed open space trust fund revenue refunding bonds of the Middlesex County Improvement Authority in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $21 million in bonds issued for the purpose of refunding the outstanding and callable county guaranteed open space trust fund revenue bonds, Series 2009B, federally taxable issuer subsidy Build America bonds, and authorizing public hearing thereon March 17, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. and authorizing publication thereof.
At this time, I'd like to declare the public hearing open. State your name, address, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. My name is Charles Cradaville. I am a resident of New Brunswick. I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today, community newspaper here in the city. I wanted to ask, this ordinance, when did the board vote to authorize the public hearing?
March 3rd meeting.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The March 3rd meeting.
Okay, so it was not at the 6 p.m. meeting tonight?
No.
No.
Okay, the agenda I saw indicated that
No.
one of these at least was going to be authorized an hour before the vote. That's not what happened. They were
Not accurate, no.
they were authorized at the last meeting. They were on the agenda.
March 3rd meeting.
Okay. Can you tell me what the nature of, I guess both of these ordinances are related. Can you tell me what's the difference between the two and what the purpose is?
Director?
Joe? Or Charlie?
It's refinancing the bonds. Basically, we're looking to save about $750,000. And to do it, we have to be able to, meet the state standard for being able to refinance it. So we have to save a certain amount, and we were able to meet that criteria. It's an ongoing process that we've been doing.
Okay. And is this, are these bonds related to any specific open space acquisitions?
Joe?
Okay, so tonight at your meeting, you had a presentation, your previous meeting, you had a presentation about 2 upcoming open space acquisitions. These ordinances have nothing to do with it?
No.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about the presentation you received tonight? And
The public hearing is about this ordinance right here.
right, but
So if you have any questions now, it's about this ordinance.
okay, I guess my question is about the financial outlook of the open space program. I want to know how much you're looking to spend on the 2 projects that you received presentations about tonight, because it obviously impacts the financial status of this trust
You
fund.
can ask that at the other public portion. This public portion is for the ordinances, or this ordinance 16-001.
Yes, and it would behoove the freeholders to know what expenses are coming up this year before you vote on this. This is of public interest, how much you plan to spend to acquire the 3 beat-up houses on Welton Street in New Brunswick and this other piece of land in Monroe Township. Can you please tell me how much the county expects to spend on those 2 projects, which you just received a presentation on within the past hour?
Joe, do these bonds have anything to do with the presentation that was done before?
No, these funds
Okay.
have been fully expended already, and we're just refinancing the debt.
Okay, and can you tell me, how much land did the county buy for $21 million? How much land does this cover?
The original ordinance was $80 million. We're refinancing the obligation that's still left. And I don't have that information with me, but I think it's
So it was $80 million. Can you tell me when it was bonded originally?
2009.
2009, and now it's being refinanced. Can you tell me the total debt load that the county guarantees, including debt from the Improvement Authority? How much debt does the county have?
With this particular ordinance?
For this
total.
particular ordinance, we're going to answer questions on.
Okay, again, it would be relevant how much total debt the county has in evaluating this particular ordinance. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to, but it looks bad. Can you just tell me how much?
Bad isn't only
Debt.
in your opinion, Mr. Cradaville. The questions have to be referenced to ordinance number 16-001. If you have any other questions, there's a public portion at the end of the meeting that you very know well of that you can ask questions on.
And my question as a taxpayer is, how much money does the county have in debt? How much do you owe? How much do we owe? Can you tell us that before you pass this, significant ordinance? Will this have an impact on the total debt
Director?
that the county has?
Hold on. Go ahead, Charlie.
I mean, we've said it before because it's been discussed since we've retired. Close to 172 million in debt before. We are about at 520 million in debt. Is that about the ballpark, Joe? And so that's our debt.
Thank you for answering my question.
Just another clarification too. This does not increase debt. On the contrary, this reduces the overall debt level because you're refinancing it at a lower interest rate. So this has a positive impact on our overall debt.
Correct. Three-fourths of $1 million, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the total debt, as you know, that shows, right, $530,689,000.
536.89. Thank you for answering my questions.
Anyone else in the public?
Move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion to close by Fielder Tamaro, second by Fielder Armwood. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I have, yes, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There a
Motion to
motion to
adopt.
adopt
Motion
number
to adopt.
16-001.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Fielder Tamaro, second by Freeholder Armwood. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Belmonte,
Yes.
Freeholder
Yes.
Kenny, Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes.
Notice of this public hearing was published in the Home News Tribune on March 7th, 2016. This public hearing was authorized at a meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders held March 3rd, 2016.
The clerk will read ordinance number 16-002 by title only.
Ordinance of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, approving and authorizing the entering into execution, delivery, and performance of a loan agreement with the Middlesex County Improvement Authority, the authority, relating to the issuance of county-guaranteed open space trust fund revenue refunding bond series 2016 by the authority in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $21 million, pledging monies in the open space trust fund, therefore, and authorizing a public hearing to be held thereon March 17th, 2016.
At this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing.
Move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion to close by Fielder Tamaro, second by Freeholder Armwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There a motion to adopt ordinance number 16-002.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, second by Freeholder Armwood. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Belmonte,
Yes.
Freeholder
Yes.
Kenny, Freeholder Polos, Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Reports of Freeholders. Freeholder Ken Armwood.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Middlesex County Regional Chamber event, March 15th, Meet the Freeholders, provided an opportunity for business leaders to learn about the county role in economic development, education, and volunteerism. Freeholder Director Ron Rios and Freeholder H. James Polos joined me at this event. A media panel made up of Bert Barron from WCTC, 1450 AM, who served as Master of Ceremonies, Susan Lawyer with MyCentralJersey.com, the Home News Tribune, and the Courier News, and Nicole Wells and Charles Kim from Tap Into South Brunswick in Cranberry. The session provided a broad overview of the county's role in the business development along with other community services. The annual Spring Job Fair, which will be held on Thursday, May 12th at the Middlesex County College from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Invitations are currently being sent to local employers asking them to participate in the event. Employers interested in participating in the job fair can contact 732-745-3970. Job seekers, please visit the county website, search hiring events at the Middlesex County One-Stop Career Centers, and to everyone out there, please have a happy St. Patrick's Day, and especially those of us who are temporarily Irish today. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Armwood. Freeholder Deputy Director Carol Belmonte.
Thank you, Director. Resolution number 16, 427R, would authorize the purchase of 18.27 acres of vacant land within the environmentally sensitive Dismal Swamp for our open space preservation program. The property, known as the Fishbine property, is located in South Plainfield along the Edison border, and it is adjacent to the Adams Farm, an open space parcel we acquired in 2009. The ecologically sensitive Dismal Swamp is a significant natural area which preserves wildlife, provides flood protection, provides public access to green space for residents of Middlesex County. The Freeholder Board has long supported preservation in this area, including this purchase. The county will have preserved 119.45 acres for open space in the Dismal Swamp, which is available for passive recreation such as hiking, bird watching, photography, and nature study. I urge my fellow freeholders to approve this resolution so that we may protect forevermore land within the Dismal Swamp Conservation Area. Also, I'm pleased to announce that a 34-acre horse farm in South Brunswick Township has become the 54th farm in Middlesex County, preserved forever, now that it has entered the Middlesex County Farmland Preservation Program. The county, with its funds and contributions from the state and South Brunswick Township, purchased an agricultural preservation easement on the Voigt Farm, owned by Jesse Voigt of South Brunswick Township. The cost of the development rights for the farm on Davison's Mill Road are $1,123,822. The state contributed $674,293. The county and South Brunswick each paid $224,764 toward the purchase. The purchase was completed on March 9th. This acquisition brings the county's total amount of preserved farmland through the Farmland Preservation Program to 4,926 acres. Overall, more than 5,471 acres of farmland have been preserved throughout the county. That number includes preservation easements purchased through the county Farmland Preservation Program. Purchases made directly by the state, the municipalities, and nonprofit organizations, and land donated to the county. I thank the Fishbine family and our partners at the state and in South Brunswick for helping us preserve Middlesex County agricultural past. That is my report.
Thank you. Freeholder Charles Kenny.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Picking up on where we were before with bonds, based on the favorable market conditions, on February 4th, the Freeholder Board refunded $30 million in bond debt, and to a much lower rate than what we previously had. This refunding triggered a bond rating review. This week, Standard & Poor's once again affirmed the county's AAA bond rating. The key factors that they cited to the favorable rating are a very strong economy, strong management with good financial policies, strong budgetary performance, and very strong liquidity.
I think that deserves a round of applause. AAA bond rating.
And as I've said before, it didn't start. It's been ongoing. So it's credit to those that were here before us and those that are here now. It's not an easy task, but not only does the rating results in lower interest rates and county savings for the county taxpayers, a AAA bond rating is an indication of the county's continued strong fiscal performance. Up for adoption tonight, as we spoke about before, was $21 million that we were looking to refund. This ordinance represents a continuation of the fiscal strategy by, again, taking advantage of favorable market conditions in order to reduce the cost for county taxpayers. The estimated savings from this refinancing, as I said earlier, was $750,000. To date, over the last 5 years, the county has refunded $220 million and has saved $13 million in interest payments. So that's a little bit of information on our county bonds and our debt. I'd just like to go on something that I spoke about, was it a year ago, Joe, or we've been talking about for over a year? We had looked to make it so we could pay our vendors electronically, and this would speed the process of them getting their money, and it would also make it where they would want to be more involved with county government and hopefully get more vendors involved and maybe different prices. Unfortunately, a bill was put before from the State Senate Assembly to the governor's office, and the governor rejected it, if I'm correct, or vetoed it last year, which stopped this process from happening. This was a project that was worked on with all the counties, all the local governments, and also the county NJAC, the county associations. They had all worked together to try and get this moving forward, so this way we could encourage smaller businesses to do business with the county or your local government. So hopefully this is going to come back up again this year, and we'll be able to move forward and get this bill signed and not vetoed so that we can move on with that process. So at this time, we're going to not be able to move forward on doing transfers to the people that we do business with on payments. And then the last thing I have is this past weekend, I know myself and many of the freeholders got to go around to some of the towns and celebrate in St. Patrick's Day a little bit earlier than today. I just want to take a moment and thank a lot of the people that are involved. We have our lead person, our point person from South Amboy, Mickey Gross, there in the back. He does a great job in South Amboy, and all the people there. We have the people in Woodbridge that put on the parade in Woodbridge, but the ones I really want to thank, the ones that I really want to mention are the Grand Marshals. The Grand Marshals are the people who go out, I shouldn't say Grand Marshals, the Marshals, parade marshals. They go out, they put the parade together, they organize it, they get people in the spot that they're supposed to be in as the parade steps off. They work the street corners to try and stop traffic. These people are all volunteering their time, and they all deserve a lot of credit for the effort that they put to bring people into their community, to show off their community. And it's one of those unsung heroes that you don't get to hear about or see, but those people deserve a lot of credit. And I just want to give a shout out to all the parade marshals and all the volunteers that help put those parades together and get them off safely and with a lot of fun. And that's all I have, Director.
Thank you, Fielder Kenny. Fielder H. James Polos.
Thank you, Director. A couple of quick items. Our Public Safety Department continues to promote our new county and improved radio system, our emergency radio communication system with our municipalities, our local police departments, fire departments, and emergency service squads. We're offering the county as a platform an opportunity for communities to save money by utilizing our base stations and platforms for communication in the event they're looking to improve communications within their community. It'll also help integrate the communications within the county, and we're getting quite a bit of positive feedback from a number of towns, and we're pursuing those discussions. Our inflatable boat task force, which we've talked about for some time, is finally coming to fruition. The boats have been received. I understand training is going to be beginning this month. We had to wait for the weather to warm up just a little bit because we're going to be asking the volunteers who are participating in this task force to not only have to do in the pool type of training, but they're actually going to have to do an exercise out in the river to practice the procedures and so forth that they're going to be learning in class. We are going to be providing boats to four communities throughout the county, and training 10 people within each of those communities and creating this lightweight inflatable task force in the event of any type of flooding or any type of other natural disaster. They will be part of a group that will be able to respond to a community or area to help with evacuation, providing equipment into the flooded area, and assisting in any way possible. This really was an outgrowth of Hurricane Superstorm Sandy a number of years ago, when there was a recognition that there was a need to create a better method for transport during flooding situations. And I'm glad to see that we're really coming to fruition now and going to begin the training of those individuals. Last but not least, less than a week ago, you heard about another tragic incident where a state trooper was killed on the side of the road by a driver who literally was not paying attention and struck the trooper on the side of the road because they did not take heed to a law that exists in the state of New Jersey, which is called the Move Over Law. I would remind everyone, and I'm proud of the fact that Middlesex County, through its comprehensive traffic safety program, was at the forefront of this issue to assist the state police in trying to promote this very, very important concept, and that is that if you are driving down the road and you see emergency vehicles on the side of the road, you are supposed to either pull over safely to the next lane or slow down to a speed below the speed limit so that you're passing by that incident in a safe manner to ensure the safety of the responders, EMS, fire, police, and so forth. It is really a shame when you think about it that a young trooper, such as the one who was killed, faces danger in so many ways through weapons and violence and terrorism and has to be killed as a result of inattention of a driver passing by. It is actually one of the most unsafe type of situations that troopers will tell you that they find themselves in. They're actually more fearful being out on the road at a traffic stop than they are in most critical type of defensive issues that they may face during the course of their day. This holds true for any officer, sheriff's officer, police officer, any law enforcement person, or any EMS person on the side of the road. So again, I urge everyone to please make sure that we are safe in the way that we drive and recognize how important it is to move over properly as per the law requires. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Phil Polos. Phil Charlie Camaro.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone, and I'm very happy to report something other than snow, ice, and frigid weather tonight, and rather express how lucky we've been with the record-breaking mild weather. Although March can still go either way, as we may witness this weekend, but our public works will be out there starting tomorrow, getting our plows ready for Sunday, and hopefully, and I know that Gary, Rick, and Kalik are all doing those snow dances. They'll be out there tomorrow, especially, so we don't have to plow any more snow. Although we still have some beautiful days. With the mild weather, our parks are busy getting ready for playtime with major renovations, installing brand new playground equipment at various parks. We have already completed 5 new playgrounds over the winter months, 3 at Roosevelt Park located in beautiful Edison Township, and 2 at Johnson's Park located in beautiful Piscataway, and I see the Mayor of Piscataway is here today. We are working on finishing one more in Johnson's Park and hope to be up and running before the end of the month. We will then move to Thompson Park with three playgrounds will be replaced and with the older models. I have to say, in addition to the new playgrounds, sure does brighten up the parks. The mild winter has also allowed us to begin work on new picnic shelter in Merrill Park, which I was there today, and they're pouring the concrete for the slab, and hopefully that will be up and going before Memorial Day. After demolition of the old shelter, work will swiftly begin building a new improved shelter to be ready for the busy picnic season. As always, with the birds come back north at Middlesex County Greenway provides a beautiful scenery all along the 3.5 mile from Metuchen to Woodbridge, and listening to their songs provides a suitable background while you walk, ride in your bike, or jog along the beautiful linear park. In Thompson's Park, the new disc golf course in Thompson Park has been recently rated in the official disc golf course review, receiving 3.5 marks out of 5, rated among the top 50 courses in the country. This sport has become very popular at Thompson Park, provides a very large, innovative course which is gaining popularity among our visitors. Check it out this spring. This park was also created by a scout for his Eagle project, so at no cost to the county, this has become a very popular site to play this new game. Roosevelt Family Ice Skating Rink will remain open until April 3rd. Then we'll transfer into roller skating rink shortly after. Check out the county's park website, roller skating opening day. And finally, our Kids in the Park and Teens in the Park programs are very popular and will take place at Warren Park in July and August. However, registration begins April 12th, and it's a first-come, first-served basis. Sessions fill out fast. Get your applications completed and sent to Jack Neal at Middlesex County Parks Administrative, and check out our website for more information. Thank you, and please get involved with the various events happening in our neighborhood through Middlesex County Parks and Recreation. And tonight, Director, my name is O. Tamaro. Thank you.
And where's your green?
It's in my tie. It's right here.
I just have a few comments that I'd like to make. First, I would like to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day, and most importantly, a safe St. Patrick's Day. I would like to thank Freeholder Charlie Kenny, because anytime there is a commemorative date celebration for a certain nationality, Charlie always takes the initiative to have a flag raising here, and he did that this weekend for St. Patrick's Day, last weekend.
2 weekends,
yeah. And it's always well attended, and it's always a good thought for everyone to come, of whatever nationality we're raising the flag for being proud of your culture and your heritage. And I want to just say thank you for a job well done and taking that initiative.
Like before, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, so thank you.
I also attended the parades in South Amboy and in Woodbridge this past weekend with my colleagues, and well attended, great enthusiasm, celebrated by all the Irish, and of course all of us that want to be Irish on St. Patrick's Day. And it's something to be proud of, the culture. I've been attending, I continue to attend schools, speaking to students. This past 2 weeks I've gone to Piscataway High School and 2 middle schools there, and to school in Dunellen, speaking to high schools and middle schools, and just speaking to them on how government works, the role of a freeholder, our responsibilities, the governmental process, federal government, whether it be House of Representatives, senators, congressmen, the president, and of course in the state house, how things get done over there. And I was on a conference call yesterday with the HUD director in Washington, along with Jerry McKenzie, our director for human services, and it was a conference call brainstorming and trying to help communities and how we can try to stop and get to effectively a zero homelessness for veterans. And there were a lot of mayors and elected officials throughout the country on there, and we're working hard to hopefully achieve that one day. And I say thank you to our Office of Human Services for all the work that you do, and hopefully we'll get there. Okay. Mr. Kelso, any resolutions to be added?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be amended?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be held?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be voided?
There are none.
At this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to the public on any resolutions listed.
Good evening once again. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. Can you just tell me the resolution number 400, flash drives? How many flash drives are you buying? Secure jump drives are you buying for $7,500?
That money goes towards maintenance support on providing that service. It's not for the jump drives, I believe. Sylvia, do you want to make comment on that?
I'm not sure on the number of but this is for support on the entire model.
Okay, so it's more than just the flash drives themselves.
Correct.
Thank you. 404 is $2.1 million in payments to the management company of this building and the other county buildings for capital improvements this year. Can you tell me what all that money is being spent on?
Yep. Essentially, each year as we develop our capital plan, both for the county as well as these facilities, there are a number of capital projects that get reviewed with us for the overall maintenance for both Civic Square 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have a list of those projects if you're interested in seeing them, but it's for projects that maintain the existing facilities and make improvements where appropriate.
Thank you. 407 is an agreement with City of New Brunswick for advanced and basic life-saving support programs. Can you tell me, is this a new initiative, or has this been going on for a while that the city provides that?
Director? No, this is a yearly appropriation, and it's a part of the contract that they have for first aid services with Robert Wood Johnson Hospital.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. The 419 is yet another change order for the most expensive bike lane in the United States of America. Can you say when this is going to be done, this project here in New Brunswick?
The project is, at this point, virtually complete. We are waiting on the state to give us approval to work in their jurisdiction, and as soon as we receive that, he should be able to finish up. It's probably like 98, 99% done.
Okay, it'll be done this year?
Oh, yes.
Okay, Thank you. 428 is a execution of a developer's agreement for 150 Easton Avenue in New Brunswick. Can you tell me who the developer is and what the nature of the agreement is?
I'm sorry, I don't have the name of the developer, but the improvement itself is for improvements on the road itself on Eastern Avenue in conjunction with the developer. But I will find out and give you the name.
And can you tell me what type of development? I believe this is a house there. Is that house going to be torn down and replaced?
I believe it's a commercial that's going to be substituting for the house. I'm not sure, but I believe that's the case.
Okay, thank you. I'll follow up. 437 and 438 are purchasing parking permits from the New Brunswick Parking Authority. There's a rate listed in the first one, but no rate in the second one. What's the rate to park at the Mayfair lot for the county?
It's basically a swap. The Mayfield lot is where the engineering building used to be. So now that we no longer occupy that building, we're giving up that parking area and basically moving those parking to the other location.
I got you. Is there a difference in price?
No, it's very nominal. It's about, I think it's $15.
$14 difference. $14 higher. Correct. Parking structure parking. Okay. And the last one, I got to ask about 463 and 464. Can you please identify which investigators in the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office are, going to be traveling for these, I guess, seminars or, professional development events?
The prosecutor feels that it's in the best interest of the prosecutor's department that their names will not be revealed for security reasons. If you have any further questions on that, feel free to call Mr. Andrew Carey.
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Andrew Carey is not responsive to me, and Mr. Andrew Carey is not here tonight. And, this just smells. It's not right to be paying for people to take trips, and we should know which officers are getting trained in what. It shouldn't be a secret. It should be something they're proud of. It should be something they advertise on their resume, and it should be something that the public is entitled to know, especially if it's coming at the cost to us. So I feel that.
Are you saying that they shouldn't be trained in safety to protect us citizens in different types of training? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I'd like to know who is getting what training, because
he feels
that's
it's in the best interest of safety for everyone involved that their names not be revealed.
Okay. I'll just say once again, we don't have secret police in this country. We should not. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public on any resolutions listed?
Move to close the public portion.
Motion to close by Fielder Tamaro, second by Fielder Armwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Kelso?
Yes, a motion would then be in order to adopt the consent agenda consisting of resolution number 16-389 through resolution 16-465.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Motion to adopt by Fielder Tamaro, second by Fielder Armwood. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood?
Yes.
Freeholder Belmonte?
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny? Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios?
Yes. Okay, at this time I'd like to open up the meeting to the public on any questions that anyone may have. State your name, address, and you have 5 minutes.
Great. Hi, Freeholders. My name is Rita Yelda. I live on Brookside Avenue in New Brunswick. I also work for Food and Water Watch, which is an environmental organization which is also located in New Brunswick, right across the street. I was here last year talking to you about this issue of fracking waste, and I'm here again because last summer, Director Rios, Freeholder Kenny, and also Mr. Kelso met with Food and Water Watch, as well as some of your constituents, to discuss dangerous oil and gas fracking waste. As I explained, these wastes contain hundreds of different chemicals. It's also potentially radioactive. It contains cancer-causing chemicals. Essentially anything they use in oil and gas production is in this waste, and they're sort of pawning it off on unknowing municipalities. And we expressed at our meeting last year that we had concerns about the lack of oversight in the state when it came to these drilling byproducts because sometimes these wastes are used on roads in order to melt ice, and it's full of cancer-causing chemicals, potentially radioactive, and they use it to melt ice or to keep down dust. So we came from that meeting really excited because Freeholder Director Rios stated that Middlesex County would update their buying specs to ensure that oil and gas waste don't end up spread on our roads. So I reached out to Amy Naples, the clerk, in hopes of acquiring a copy of the county's buying specs in regards to the road treatment and spreading, but I never heard back. Mercer County is thinking about following Middlesex County's lead, and obtaining this language is really important. They also want to make sure that their residents aren't exposed to these chemicals. And so I'm here tonight because I have two questions. I guess number one is, were the buying specs updated? And the second question is, when can I get a copy of these buying specs so that I can provide them to the Mercer County freeholders?
Ann?
Yes, we updated our specifications for products that we purchase to melt ice that specifically say that the chemicals that they use cannot contain any byproducts from fracking. And if you want to give me your email, I'd be happy to send it.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Anyone else in the public? State your name, address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening once again. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. It's an honor and a pleasure to address you tonight, and I want to start by saying that I do believe that law enforcement is a noble profession, and I do think that police and prosecutors have a difficult job, but I have got to say that Middlesex County does not have a good reputation for its law enforcement and its prosecutors. The Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office is the only part of the Middlesex County government that refuses to send their press releases to the New Brunswick Today newspaper. Their feelings might have been hurt by some of the articles we wrote, but that doesn't change the fact that they work for the public, just like every other part of this government works for the public. And I look out here and I don't see our elected sheriff here. Is the sheriff here tonight? No. And I don't see our county prosecutor here tonight. So those are the top two law enforcement officials, and it wasn't worth their time to be here tonight. Maybe they have something better to do. But I'm quite frankly sick of it. And so I'm just going to tell you what I think is going on. And, if you want to tell me your side of the story, you can. But I think that there's a lot of people who work for the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office who paid bribes to get their job. This is not something coming out of thin air. There were a number of sheriff's investigators who did the same thing and admitted it. And the former sheriff went to jail for it, for taking bribes, selling badges. This is horrible. And I think the question that a lot of people didn't ask is, well, how many of these folks who paid bribes are no longer sheriff's investigators, but transferred to the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office? So maybe that's a question you can answer when I'm done with my remarks. How many people who work for the prosecutor's office, how many of these investigators that get to go on these secret trips paid bribes to get their jobs? I'd also like to make you aware of a situation. I knew about it at the last meeting, but I chose to use some discretion. I saw the undersheriff was here, and so I went up to the undersheriff after the meeting, and I asked him if what I'd heard was true. And what I'd heard was that there was a warrant for someone at the sheriff's home address, or the undersheriff's home address, forgive me. And it was my understanding that when the officers came to execute the warrant at the undersheriff's residence, that they ran the plate of the vehicle in the driveway and saw that it was, the undersheriff's house. So they called back to dispatch. Dispatch contacted the chief warrant officer, and eventually it got all the way up to the undersheriff himself. And he made the call to stand down and go home, not execute the warrant, because that person who had the warrant no longer lived at the undersheriff's home. If this isn't true, please correct the record. I'm all ears. But this is what I've heard. I asked the undersheriff after the last meeting if this was true, and he said no comment. Email the sheriff in the morning. I emailed the sheriff, and I got no response. You can't rely on your county prosecutor and your sheriff to handle these matters and respond to members of the public if they're not actually going to even respond to an email address. I tried to go about this the discreet way. I tried to go about this through the proper channels, and now I'm left with no answers 2 weeks later, and I'm here at the same meeting, and now I'm asking my elected officials for answers. Please explain what the heck is going on with the prosecutors and the sheriff's office. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I have all the confidence in the world in our prosecutor and our sheriff. Number two, the sheriff and the prosecutor are constitutional officers, and they are governed by the state attorney general. I cannot force them to do anything, change policy. It's up to them to run their respective offices. If you have any questions for them, about them, you have to ask them. We budget their departments, and that's the extent of our responsibility. If you have questions or complaints about the sheriff or the prosecutor, then I would suggest that you go see the attorney general. That's the only thing I could tell you.
Thank you.
We don't govern them.
Can you tell me, did you have all the confidence in the world in the previous sheriff?
Well, you know what? I can't answer for things that was done by the previous sheriff. I can't answer those questions. If he was convicted of a crime, then he was guilty, and he paid his penalty as per state laws and the trials.
Can you promise me you'll look into how many people are working for the prosecutor's office who paid bribes to that convicted criminal?
That's an answer that I can't even give you. I can't even give you that answer.
Okay, I would recommend you investigate.
The Board of
Thank you.
Freeholders is not an investigatory body. If you feel that crime has been committed and you're making serious allegations, I suggest you go to law enforcement, as he suggested the Attorney General's office. But the Freeholder Board is not going to do criminal investigations. And the answer to the other question, the point you made earlier, no, there are no sheriff's investigators who were terminated by this board that, as far as we know, work for the prosecutor's office. They were terminated from county employment by this board.
So there were sheriff's officers terminated, sheriff's investigators terminated.
The ones who you say were volunteered, that they paid bribes, they volunteered it because they were called to grand jury under oath. And when those grand jury transcripts were turned over to us, once the prosecution was done, in cooperation with the Attorney General's office, this board terminated those investigators.
And what about the ones who didn't volunteer that they did it?
Same thing.
But there's other
Same
evidence.
Answer. Same answer. Anybody who either volunteered or was determined by
Time's up.
by the testimony at when the plea was taken, those individuals were terminated.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the public?
Motion to close the public portion.
Second. Motion to close by Fielder Tamaro, seconded by Fielder Armwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Fielder Tamaro, seconded by Fielder Armwood. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.